First, I would like to just pass my gratitude to the organizing committee of having this opportunity as a guest speaker. My name is Getachew Gebreamlak from Addis Ababa Science and Technology University, Ethiopia. So the title of my presentation is The Impact of Process Parameters and Alumina Nanoparticles on the Mechanical and Microstructural Properties of Friction stir weld joints on dissimilar aluminum alloys. Of course, a comparative study. So here are actually the contents in this session. The first one is actually the introduction, then material and methods to be followed after, then result and discussion, then finally conclusion. Friction stir welding is simply the solid state welding process, which has been believed to be started and patented at the Welding Institute of actually Cambridge in the UK in 1991. Initially, the process has been used for low melting materials, but those excellence found in those industries actually has just come to the high melting point materials like stainless steel and tungsten. And recently, the polymers actually has been the focus of this industry. Friction stir welding is a solid state joining process, so we don't have any problem that has been observed in the traditional welding process of fusion. So the prime mover for this actually process is the heat and the mechanical action that takes place by the welding tool. And this process is an autogeneous process because no filler materials to be used, and actually no fume is produced during the process, and that's why it's environmentally friendly process. So the joint is simply formed by means of the non-consumable cylindrical rotating tool. So friction is being invited, but when it comes to the solidus temperature, the material tries to flow from the leading side to the trailing side. That's how the joint is being formed. When it comes to the industrial application of friction stir welding, the first one is in marine industry. So the remarkable actually application is due to the using of the floating bobbing tool. That's very remarkable for the mobile friction stir welding system. In the armor industry, advanced amphibious assault vehicle is actually one of the application area in the armor industry. And the other is in the profit-sensitive industry of aerospace. So critically Eclipse 500 aircraft, which is 6-seat actual aircraft, is one of the beneficiary of this industry. And the other is a Delta rocket that has been used for the aerospace industry. And the other actual beneficiary is the Boeing company with the internal structure made from for the C-100, C-17 actually heavy military aircraft. The other actually application of this friction stir welding is in the tailor welded blanks in automotive industry. This is a critical actually achievement done in this industry because different materials of different strengths with different thickness can be joined together for the real application in the automotive industry. The other actually beneficiary of this friction stir welding process is the railway industries. So in this, the full actually material is being actually extruded by means of the friction stir welding process. So the crash worthiness of the aluminum rail cars has been made to protect the passengers. The other actually progress made after introduction of the friction stir welding process is the friction stir processing. So this is simply the method of changing the property of the metal through intense localized and plastic deformation. So this will cause for the significant grain refinement, and this has been believed to be started by Mishra as a generic tool for microstructural modification. That's based on the previous concept of the friction stir welding process. So nowadays it can be used to fabricate metal matrix composites in the weld nugget zone, and actually the Nowadays, it's becoming a common practice for nano-composite that can be formed by this friction stir processing. So when it comes to the experimental details, the first actually the material under this investigation is aluminum alloy with the size of 100 millimeter times 100 millimeter times 6 millimeter thickness. Of course, the material actually aluminum alloy with the principal alloying element of copper, and the other is aluminum alloy 7075, whose principal alloying element is zinc. In these both cases, the material actually are supplied with the tempered one, right? So that's for better actually application. So for this particular case, reinforcement has been done, and this nano aluminum alloy, alumina has been used with the average size of 33.53 nanometer with a relative density of 3.9, and for, possible purity of 99.9%. Actually, this is a very critical addition that has been used in this study. The other is actually the welding tool. The welding tool can be regarded as the heart of the process, because the only actually miracle that takes place in the process is the performance of the welding tool. So in this particular actual investigation, the tool steel, that's usually H13, has been used, and this has been actually manufactured, hardened, and tempered to as high as 58 HRC. For the execution of the process, 3 welding parameters has been selected. So one of the greatest actually advantage of this solid state welding process is actually it utilizes actually few and limited number of actually parameters. So this is one of the advantage behind this frequency welding process. So rotational speed of the welding tool, the welding speed, and the plunge depths are the critical parameters with the possible levels stated as actually are shown on the table. So one of the critical actually start for this process is material preparation. So in order to introduce the alumina powder into the material, so the percentage, volume percentage has to be calculated. So for this particular case, 8 volume percentage is the critical and appropriate actually quantity. So for that, the number of hole has to be actually computed. So for this particular actually case, 15 actual number of holes with limited size has to be actually provided on each edge. And accordingly, this has been actually made ready for inclusion of powder. So you can see how powder is being actually incorporated in the hole. Then after actually exerting much pressure, so the material to be welded is just being placed built together on the fixture itself. So we can see here how the frictionless welding process is being done by the rotational actually motion of the welding tool. Then the final output is being shown here, the welded actually joint. So after the weldment has been done, then the actually the characterization will start at this critical actually stage. Here you can see how the 3 actually dog bone samples has been taken by means of the actually wire ADM machine, and the other is for microstructural actually samples. So in such a way, samples has been taken from the welded region. Then you can see how actually the cutting process on the wire ADM is being inspected on the monitor. So here is actually the appropriate actually welding ADM machine, wire ADM machine employed in this study. So this is actually the dog bone actually samples for ready for the tensile test, and this is a machine actually employed for the universal testing, right? So when it comes to the result and discussion, so result has been compared between the the joints in terms of the tensile strengths, yield strengths, and micro hardness. So the table actually disclose comparison between actually the joints of without reinforcement and with alumina reinforcement, we can see the improvement has been done in terms of tensile strength as high as 15.65%, and for yield strength 10%, and for micro hardness in HRB scale as 21.9. So this is actually the promising result found as associated with the addition of the alumina particle on the weld region. So when it comes to the summary, the addition of the alumina particles on this experiment has shown much improvement in the mechanical and the metallographical property. So it has been actually summarized in the table form accordingly. So here we can see the stress strain diagram shown for the comparison between without reinforcement and with reinforcement. And when it comes to the micro harness HRB, so this is a W actually profile that's being shown when the harness is being measured, further actually distance from zero in both directions. So we can see the pattern and actually the values accordingly. So we can just appreciate the change that's made due to the addition of the alumina particle. So when you come to the conclusion, in both actually scenarios, the combination of the process parameter was the same. So the rotational speed actually was 1200 revolution per minute, 60 millimeter per minute of welding speed, and 0.4 millimeter of the tool plunge depth, especially from the shoulder point of view. So due to this, higher strength has been achieved and higher micro hardness is being actually disclosed on the results as just compared with the previous one or the traditional one. So the main reason behind this actually improvement or augmentation is actually reduction in grain size has been disclosed due to this addition, and the other is the Zener pinning effect, hole pitch effects is a real actual reason for the inhibition of the grain growth. So that's the reason for the crystallization process. So the heat has been produced to just cause for the smooth flow of materials from the leading side to the trailing side of the cutting tool. So these are the references to be actually employed for this actually slide. So thank you, just madam. So I'm just, everybody's actually invited for question and answer.
Thank you, Dr. Getachew. It's a nice work. Any question from audience side? Dr. Getachew, I have one question. In this study, did you check the corrosion effect?
Yeah, actually, one of the drawback from this study, or actually as a limitation, is corrosion has not been actually entertained in this study.
So did you check this?
Yeah.
Okay. So what the results was there?
You mean the corrosion?
Okay.
No,
yes,
your question is with corrosion?
Yes, corrosion effect, did you check?
No, actually, one of the limitation of this study is corrosion has not been entertained in this study, sir. I mean, madam.
Okay, thank you. I hand over the session to the Dr. Anita Verma and Dr. Twinkle. Thank you, the organizing committee, to just invite me as a chair the session. Thank you so much.
Thank you, madam.
Now, Dr. Anita Verma and Dr. Twinkle, please take care of this meeting. Okay?
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you. Thank you, Dr. Verma, for sessioning. Thank you all.
Hello, madam.
Now, the next presentation is from Yohanes Abebe.
Yohanes Abebe, yeah.
Present your presentation.
Okay. Yeah. May I start, madam? Yes.
Your presentation showing.
Yeah. Me, Yohanes Abebe, yeah. Hello?
Sir, also kindly introduce yourself.
Okay. Me, Yohanes Abebe. Shall I start?
Yes, yes, you can start. Sir. Total
So,
slides are 16. Right.
yes. May I
You can
start,
start.
madam?
Sir.
Okay,
Yeah,
thank
yeah,
you very
you
much.
can start.
I appreciate the coordinator for this session. My name is Yohanes Abebe from Addis Ababa Science and Technology University from Ethiopia, Addis Ababa. Well, my presentation for this is about, the title is about glass, natural wool fiber and nano-alumina reinforced polymer biocomposite for improving their mechanical and water absorption properties. So as an introduction, a composite can be a combination of materials in order to produce better properties for various applications, especially for automotive, construction, and furniture industries. Composites can be classified in various types depending upon different parameters, but in this case, it is classified as three type, the natural, synthetic, and hybrid type. Composites have some limitations. One of the limitations is the cost, its nature, brittle, low toughness, reuse and disposal limitation. Manufacturing and assembly are some of the drawbacks. When we come to my composite, the wool glass hybrid composite, this composite has a class of material that combines the property of both natural wool fiber and synthetic glass fibers for composite purpose by means of hybridization. But from our tests that the mechanical property of the wool glass hybrid composite can be inferior. So to improve the mechanical property, I have to reinforce this composite by using nano-alumina materials. When we see about the materials and the methods, we have seen that some of the materials which can be used for to produce the composites include the wool glass fiber, the glass fiber, the polyester resin, and nano-aluminas. The method which I employed in order to manufacture the composite can be, you can see from the table 1, the percent composition of wool to glass ratio for hybridization. So equal volume, 20% is used for production of the composite. One set of the composite is with the application of nano, 2%, and the second set is without the addition of nanoparticles. When we see about the fabrication process, the first thing we have to consider in order to fabricate, especially in the hand lab method, is arranging the stacking sequences. So you can see from the figure 2 that the glass fiber and the wool fibers are arranged in a place one over the other. Usually the glass fiber is placed on the outermost and the wool fiber on the inside. This is in order to facilitate the advantage from the glass fiber, usually from external environments. So from the peak, on the right side, figure B, is the mold prepared on the workshop. The mold is used to produce the blank in order to produce standard materials for mechanical testing process. So you can see from figure C that the blank, which is produced from the mold, from the mold, we can produce these blanks. Figure 3, you can see. Then the table 2 displays that ASTM standard used to produce the standard size for testing from this blank. We can produce according to this size. So when it's about the characterization process, once I prepare the samples based on the standards, I use the UTM machine, universal testing machine, in order to check the mechanical properties of the composites. The mechanical properties include tensile test, compression, flexural, and impact tests, including water absorptions. When we come to about the result in the discussion part, this is a table. This table shows that the glass fiber, the hybrid, and the wool fiber composites. So these composites can be tested by applying 2% nano and without the application of nano, without alumina and with the addition of nano. So the black data is the data obtained from the mechanical test without alumina, and the green part, you can see from that it is a result obtained from mechanical test of the composite with the addition of alumina nanoparticles. So when you see the tensile test, especially for those of the glass fiber, the hybrid, and the wool fiber, as a result of the addition, the red one is the addition of nanoparticle. The result shows that the green part, I mean the dark part is without the addition of alumina. So the difference you can see observe is that in terms of percentage, we can see that the glass fiber composite have 72.15% improvement in percentage, and that of the wool fiber is at 617%, whereas the hybrid is 72.95%. The same holds true if we are looking about the compression test of the wool glass hybrid composite. The glass fiber hybrid composite and the wool fiber, the data you can collect from this graph, from the bar graph. So improvement as a result of nano enhancement, alumina nano enhancement is that when we see about the glass, 21.77, for the wool fiber, 55%, and that of the hybrid composite is 32% improvement in percentage of strength of compression, strength of the composites. The same holds true when we see about the flagella test of the wool glass hybrid composite, the glass fiber, the hybrid, and the wool fiber, the percentage improvement in the flagellar strength of the composite, that of the glass fiber composite is 30%, and for the wool hybrid composite is 120%, and that of the hybrid is 35% improvement is obtained from these tests. The impact test of this composition also shown that the glass fiber composite has some improvement in as a result of nano application. The impact strength improved, and so for the wool fiber also the improvement, and the hybrid of glass fiber and that of the wool fiber also improvement observed. So in terms of percentage, the glass fiber composites have 220%, and the wool fiber is 10%, and the hybrid is 80.82% improvement in results as a result of mechanical test obtained from the UTM. When you see about the water absorption test of the composite, the 10-day data of water absorption is taken in order to test the water absorption property of the composite. So from the test, we can make that a line graph is conducted from the data. So the glass fiber have 0.01% of improvement as a result of nano alumina additions. The wool fiber has 0.2% more improvement. Here you can observe that, and that of the hybrid is 0.6% without without the addition of nano alumina in this case. But when we see about the addition of nano alumina, the curve is improvement. The curve improvement shows that the glass fiber is 0. The wool fiber is 0.2. That of the hybrid is 0.7. This graph shows that without the addition of nano alumina, the water composition, the water absorption property, whereas this graph shows that water absorption property with the addition of alumina. This is percent improvement in the composite obtained from the glass fiber composite, the wool fiber composite, and that of the hybrid composite. So in general, the addition of alumina generally improves the mechanical property of the composites in the tensile strength, the compression strength, the flexural strength, and impact strength are improvement observed from there. So in addition, the glass fiber composite has the highest tensile strength, 99.394 megapascal. The compression strength is 160 megapascal, and the flexural strength is 135.24 megapascal. When alumina is added, making it the strongest composite in the group, the glass fiber composite. But when you come to about the wool composite has the lowest tensile strength, 28.5 megapascal for tensile. Compression strength 47.47 megapascal, and the flexural 46 megapascal without alumina, indicating that it is the weakest composite. So hybridization has some improvements as a result of hybridization. At the same time, nano enhancement has improvement in the properties of the composites. The water absorption generally decreases when alumina is added to both wool and glass and hybrid composites as a result of the addition of alumina. So the choice of this composite type and the use of alumina should be based on the specific requirement of the application, considering the trade-offs between the mechanical properties of.
So, good afternoon, everyone. Thank you very much I firstly thank the organizers for giving me this opportunity to talk in this conference stage, and thank you very much for giving me this opportunity. Myself, Dr. Madhusmita Panigrahy, from Shiksha Anusandhan University, Odisha, India. I'm working as assistant professor here, and this talk is presented from the 2 grants which I received from Young Scientist and Women Scientist grants, and my paper ID is 79, and my talk details can be found in the abstract book, page number 62. My title of the topic is Carbon Nanoparticle, a boon to rice plant growth and yield in a non-transgenic manner. So, as I'm talking about rice plants, you might have understood by now that I'm talking about nano agriculture. So, this is use of different kinds of nanoparticles in the form of nano fertilizers, nano for the nano remediation, in the form of nano sensors, and in the form of nano pesticides. So, this can be used in the form of foliar applications or in the form of soil applications. It is given to the plant, and it works beneficial growth effects and toxicity alleviation effects and different kinds of remediation purposes also. So application of nanotechnology is used in agriculture. These are the different aspects of the nanoparticles which are presented here. So I'm going to talk about how we have used the carbon nanoparticle for the rice plant growth and yield. So looking into the agriculture and nanotechnology interconnections that has happened. So it has, when it is applied in the different forms of like nanosilicon, in the form of carbon nanotubes, graphene oxide, and in the form of fertilizer as nano-urea, nano-silver, and in different forms of nanoparticle as zinc nanoparticle, carbon nanoparticle, they have produced, they have increased the plant productivity in different path modification of different pathways, and they have also improved the quality of soil as a fertilizer applications. They are used for smart monitoring technology also, and they have stimulated the plant growth in different hormone metabolic pathways. So now I'm entering into our own results. What we did is we took carbon nanoparticle, which is from SRL laboratories, and we have applied it into Arabidopsis thaliana, which is a dicot model plant, and we have seen that application of carbon nanoparticles have accelerated the flowering time, and the plant flowers earlier when you apply the nanoparticle. So after seeing this effect, we tried to see that the nanoparticle is actually taken up by the plant. So we have taken different parts of the plant and tried to confirm it with the graphite nanopowder originally, and we have found the same wave bands and conformations that it has actually taken up by the plant. This was done using Raman spectroscopy, and we have seen that the percentage of carbon nanoparticles are absorbed in different parts of the plant in Arabidopsis thaliana. This paper we have published in Plant Cell Reports as Carbon Nanoparticle Influences Photomorphogenesis and Flowering Time in Arabidopsis thaliana. Secondly, because the Arabidopsis thaliana is a weed, so we wanted to try it in a rice, which is a model monocot plant, and we have given nanoparticle treatment to rice plant, and we have seen, so this first panel is the untreated and the second panel is the treated ones, and we have seen that it is showing positive growth effects in the plant by increasing the growth, the tiller number, the height of the plant, and the column length, the number of productive tillers, tillers, number of panicles, and it has also increased the yield. So we have we have given the carbon nanoparticle in 4 doses in a 15 days of interval, and we have taken different morphological parameters, and we have seen that the tiller number, the plant height, and the chlorophyll measurement and the quantum yield of the photosynthesis is getting increased after CNP treatment, carbon nanoparticle treatment. In addition to the growth effects, we have also seen that different agronomic traits like productive tillers, days to flowering, panicle length, flag leaf length, haunted grain weight, and field grain weight, dry biomass, and root biomass, along with the yield, is increasing in the CNP treated plants significantly, which is coming to nearly 17.5% of yield increase in the rice plant. So after this visible effect, we wanted to know the molecular mechanisms, how this carbon nanoparticle is exerting this kind of positive growth effects in the rice plant. We have first checked that the carbon nanoparticle is taken up by the rice plant. We have confirmed this by Raman spectroscopic analysis, and we have taken different parts of the plant like root and stem and sheath, and we have seen that the raw carbon graphite powder wave number is actually matching to those found in the samples. So we are confirmed that the carbon nanoparticle is taken up. After that, we have confirmed this also by phase contrast microscopy. We have taken different parts of the plant like leaf, root, and sheath, and we have taken carbon treated and untreated ones, and we have seen that the carbon nanoparticle is forming aggregates in different parts of the plant. And we have also tried this with the scanning electron microscopy and in the leaf, root, and the seed. We have seen that the carbon nanoparticle is changing the surface shape of the root, leaf, and the seed through scanning electron microscopy. Maybe this is the region by which it is exerting different kinds of possible growth effects. Further, we wanted to measure the internal temperature of the plant. We have seen that the control and the treated ones are showing higher temperature, higher thermal. We have measured it through infrared thermometer, and we have seen that the temperature of the plant is increasing nearly 0.5 degree, and we have published this also as carbon nanoparticle exerts positive growth effects, but by increasing productivity and down regulating phytochrome B by enhancing the internal temperature of the rice plant. So possibly that the carbon nanoparticle are able to trap more heat, and this is visible in the infrared thermometer, and by this it is also down regulating the phytochrome B, which is a photoreceptor, and it is able to exert the positive growth effects. So next we try to visualize the photosynthetic parameters in the rice plant. We have checked the gaseous exchange and the water use efficiency and the water relation parameters. We have seen that the leaf temperature is increasing in the carbon nanoparticle treated plant. Along with that, the stomatal conductance, the transpiration rate, and the water use efficiency is also increasing after carbon nanoparticle treatment. We also saw the stomata shape and size and the frequency by confocal microscopy, and we have confirmed that this is the untreated one and the next two are the treated ones. And we have seen that the second and the third column stomata size is bigger, and with the decrease in the frequency, increase in the size, the carbon nanoparticle is able to affect the stomata size and the frequency of the rice plants. Further, we wanted to confirm how this is affecting this growth in a genetic level, and we have done genome-wide expression analysis and microarray analysis, and we have seen that the control and the treatment libraries are bearing more collinearity, and they are providing a platform for the analysis. We have seen that the ABA pathway and the ABA pathway is highly upregulated, and internal ABA content of the control and the CNP plant shows that there is high level of ABA accumulation in the treated plants, and we could by QRT-PCR, we have shown that the ABA biosynthesis inhibitor, which is a suppressor of ABA biosynthesis gene, is down regulated. That means the ABA pathway is highly upregulated. From the microarray analysis also we confirmed this, that the ABA pathway 34 genes are from the ABA pathway, 29 genes are upregulated in the microarray analysis. So we have confirmed that the ABA pathway is highly upregulated in the CNP treated plants. So summarily, we could show that when we give the CNP carbon nanoparticles to the roots in the soil of the plant, it is taken up by the roots and it is channelized to the plant in the different parts like leaf, stem and the panicles, and due to their black nature and high surface area, they are able to acquire more heat, because of which they can increase the plant internal temperature up to 0.5 degree. After the 0.5 degree increase, the thermosensor and the photoreceptor phytochrome B is feedbackly down regulated, and it increases the ABA content in the plant. After the ABA content and biosynthesis is increased, it is also influencing the stomata parameters, the water relation parameters, the relative humidity, vapor pressure deficit is also increased. The because of the ABA pathway, also root length and rootlet number are also increased. Because the increased uptake by the carbon nanoparticle, maybe the carbon nanoparticle are working as hygroscopic binders of water, because of which they can hold more water in the cellular components, and this leads to the higher water use efficiency of the rice plant, which increases the yield ultimately. So ultimately we can see that the carbon nanoparticle induces early flowering in Arabidopsis thaliana. Carbon nanoparticle induces positive growth up to 17.5% of yield increase in rice, and it has increases the plant internal temperature up to 0.5 degree after CNP treatment. The internalized CNP aggregates serve to absorb extra photons, increasing the internal temperature of the plants. The CNP treatment resulted increase in size of stomata, stomatal conductance and water use efficiency. Carbon nanoparticle coupled with water uptake was found to be endocytosis mediated, and elevated endogenous ABA in the rice seedlings and flag leaves was due to increased ABA synthesis, and altered ABA pathway and stomatal distribution with size, improved water relation parameters and water use efficiency, showing improved yield in rice. So let me thank whoever has helped me. Acknowledgement part, this is the National Institute of Science, Education and Research, where major work is executed, and Shiksha Anusandhan University is also my work affiliation, which also helped me. So this is myself, Dr. Madhusmita Panigrahy, and Professor Kishore Panigrahy's lab. This work was executed along with our PhD student Aman Kumar and Lakshmi Mansa, and this is our postdoc Dr. Gayatri Mishra, and I also acknowledge the SCRB Young Scientist Grant and WSA Women Scientist Grant, Government of India, for funding this work. So I also thank all the audience to listen my talk very carefully, and thank you all. And I also invite any questions from anyone to clarify. Thank you very much.
Good afternoon, everyone. Myself, Mrs. Deepti Khedekar, pursuing PhD in Material Science from Mumbai University, Maharashtra, India. Today here I am presenting my paper, Characteristic Study of NiCoP thin films successively deposited by spray pyrolysis technique predicted for water splitting activity. Here are outline of the presentation: introduction, methodology, characterization, XRD same band gap, result and discussion, and conclusion. Electrochemical water splitting. Yes. What is water splitting? Water splitting is a chemical reaction that breaks down waters into hydrogen and oxygen. Reaction is 2H2O gives 2H2 plus O2. Electrochemical water splitting has been considered as one of the most promising approaches to store renewable electricity in the form of hydrogen fuel. Hydrogen can be generated in a water electrolyzer consisting of hydrogen evaluation reaction and cathode reaction, cathode, and an oxygen evaluation reaction, O is anode. This is my experimental setup. Figure A shows the schematic diagram of water splitting activity, and figure B is the potential stat, means experimental setup. Then why NiCoP thin film? NiCoP ternary alloy film has excellent magnetic properties, wear resistance, thermal conductivity, electromagnetic wave depositions properties, and electrocatalytic properties. NiCoP alloy films are considered an interesting candidate for supercapacitor applications. Applications of NiCoP thin films: magnetic recording media, ore catalytic activity, supercapacitor application, electrochemical applications. These are the literature survey. We have reviewed more than 30 research papers regarding our work, but due to limitations, only few of them have presented. This is the schematic diagram of the spray pyrolysis method experiment, or the diagram of this nozzle is representing over here. This is the solution. The compressed air will come from this side, and the spray will deposited on this substrate. We here use a glass substrate over here, and then iron plate, heating iron plate is there. Temperature of the plate is 100 degrees. Some parameters of this apparatus is shown over here. We prepared 5 different combinations of cobalt and nickel concentration on the glass substrate, and deposited NiCoP thin films shows different colors with reflecting surfaces. Parameters are method are deposition rate at 2.94 ml per minute, spraying distance 24 centimeters, substrate temperature 100 degrees Celsius, and deposition time is 15 minutes. These are the combinations, and prepared samples images are shown in this slide. XRD characterization we perform for all that films. We are getting average crystallized size for each film. This is 26.16 for 100% nickel and 100% nickel for nickel and phosphate. Nickel 75%, cobalt 25%. It is 26.36 nanometer. Then nickel 50%, cobalt 50%, we got a 28.64 nanometer. Nickel 25% and cobalt 75%, we got 29.91 nanometer. And cobalt 100%, we got a 25.54 nanometer crystal size. For all these prepared sample, we put a concentration of phosphate constant. These are the same diagrams here, same images for prepared 5 samples. We shows continuous and good, crack free and good. These are the band gap characterization. We perform these 5 samples for band gap characterization, and here we got the band gaps for our 5 samples. So first, for 100% nickel, we got 2.8 electron volt band gap. 75% nickel and 25 cobalt, we got 3.75 electron volt. Nickel 50 and cobalt 50, we got 3.6 electron volt. And then 25% nickel and 75% cobalt, we got 2.68 electron volt band gap. And cobalt 100, we got the 2.18 electron volt. Results and conclusion. In present work, NiCoP thin film of 5 different combinations of cobalt and nickel has been successfully deposited on glass substrate. XRD pattern of prepared sample depicts strong diffraction peaks in good arrangement with the standard spectrum. From same analysis, it is clear that formation of thin films on a glass substrate is uniform in nature, and band gap measures of all 5 samples indicates good behavior for absorption of UV visible light. Conclusion: this article summarizes the optimized operating conditions of NiCoP thin film of 5 different combinations prepared by spray pyrolysis technique based on their optical properties used for water splitting application. Future work: because of the potential application of NiCoP thin film in various industrial areas, we plan to analyze the electrochemical properties of base performing NiCoP thin film among 5 deposited films in our future research work. Next slide. Thank you. Thank you for giving me opportunity to present my paper, my work in this international conference.
Thank you very much for giving me this wonderful opportunity. Yeah, this is Sarvani Jowhar Khanam, Research Associate at the University of Hyderabad. Today I am going to present a review on designing the prescribed single crystal for enhanced photo detection under the paper ID 2020. So is my voice is audible, sir?
Yes, it is audible.
Okay, thank you. So slides are moving?
Yes, exactly, it is moving. You may continue.
Okay. The outline of my presentation is going to be a brief introduction of perovskite single crystals, then a promising properties of perovskite single crystals, where we are choosing only the perovskite material, not the other materials, and then coming to its application and the device approach, the approaches to enhance the device performances, and we are going to discuss the additive engineering method, where we have chosen only this for enhancing the device performances, and a brief summary. So coming to the perovskite materials, we all know that the first discovered material is the calcium titanium oxide by the Getachew in 1839. The revolution in this and the exponential publication has been enhanced in these materials after using this methyl ammonium lead iodide for the photovoltaic application in Miyazaki lab. So these materials named in behalf of a Russian mineralogist Lev Perovsky. The universal structure of this material is ABXP, where A is for the monovalent cation, is B for the bivalent cation, and X is halide anions. Here we can see that the B cations of octahedral forming and coordinating with the halide anion forming an octahedra. Depending on the arrangement of this octahedra, we can differentiate this material into the 3-dimensional, 2-dimensional, 1-dimensional, and 0-dimensional. The beauty of this material is we can tune the dimensionality, and we can confine the dimension of these materials accordingly, depending on the application. As we all know that these materials are perovskite semiconducting materials, so the main important feature lies in the band gap. Here, the band gap of this material is formed with the combination of lead and halide, 6p orbital and s orbitals. So depending on the necessity and the application, we can tune the band gap of this material by changing the configuration. As we can see here, the directly changing the lead composition and the halide composition, we can tune the band gap of this material. As we can see here, the range of electromagnetic spectrum here, we can tune the band gap accordingly. The larger band gap is suitable for the higher energy radiation detection, and as earlier discussed, we can use this for the photovoltaic application as well also. So the band gap suitable for the solar cell application is 1.4 to 1.6. Here, my research area is totally focused on higher energy radiation detection using the perovskite single crystals. The promising properties of this material is it has a relatively larger material density, and we can easily grow this material in a normal environment. Not large amount of economy is required here. No sophisticated facilities are required. We can use this material. The large multi-product has been found in these materials. The mobility and the charge mobility of this material is very large and comparatively to the silicon materials, and we found that the low trap density in this material comparison to the cadmium, zinc telluride, etc. The commercially available photodetectors. And here the defect formation energy is lower in this case, where the defect energy lies between the band gap, within the band gap. So comparatively, the defect formation energy is suppressed in case of these perovskite materials. So which is making it as a promising property for the higher energy radiation detection. depending on the selection as discussed, we can fabricate the structure of the configuration of these devices. As we can see, this cathode, perovskite material, and then the anode is for the energy radiation detection. And for the photovoltaic application, we need to use the whole transporting layer and the electron transporting layer so that it can effectively collect the electrons and holes with respect to electrodes. Okay, so coming to the application, we can use this for the homeland security and medical imaging, and also wearable devices in the e-skin, and also in higher energy radiation detection, which my research area is focused towards, and in astrophysics, nuclear reactor for the security purposes. So coming to its challenges, as we know, each and every material has its own pros and cons. So the challenges associated with this commercialization is the stability and the toxicity. This material very unstable to the sunlight and water. Whenever this material is exposed to the outer atmosphere, like coming to when it contact with the oxygen, the material surface get degraded because of methyl ammonium. Methyl ammonium is a hygroscopic salt. Methyl ammonium halide is a hygroscopic salt, and it is forming its non-ionic form, which is a gas. So the research area of mine is totally focused on enhancing these defects, which are forming the vacancies and interstitial defects, and leading to the shallow defect and the deep traps, which are deteriorating its performances. So what are the approaches to improve the device performances? In the literature, there are many more techniques to improve the performances of a devices, by using the doping, and also some are using the crystal growth techniques. When growing the crystal, they are using some additives, and also we can improve the device performances by layer optimization and fabrication as well. So here the main important is the principle of this material and how this material are performing. Whenever we are interacting this material with higher energy radiation, we all know that the electrons are generating, and these are collected at the opposite electrodes, and then sending it to the preamplifier, amplifier, and the MCA for the signaling. In the literature, only few reports are there regarding using the additives for the crystal growth, choline bromide in 2020 and polymer in 2021, and some derivatives of amino ethoxylene acetic acid. So here in our research work, we have focused on the crystallization method and how to improve its crystallinity while growing in the crystal from crystallite to crystal. So to know the exact crystallization technique and what is the purpose which we have used the additives, we just need to have a deep introduction on the crystallization mechanism. So where we just have to increase the temperature of the precursor solution so that it can reach the supersaturation, which is non-equilibrium form, and then it starts the nucleation while increasing the temperature, then followed by the crystal growth, and then we can get the crystals, which is the equilibrium form. Yeah, as seen in the figure 10, two methods are there, most probably two methods are there, which is more known in the literature: anti-solvent method and the hot temperature crystallization method, inverse temperature crystallization method. From the anti-solvent crystallization method, we are getting the small crystals, which is not suitable for the higher energy radiation detection. As we all know that to stop the incoming higher energy radiation, we need to have the larger surface area, which is suitable to stop the higher energy radiations, and also it can effectively collect the charges, and we will able to see the signals. So we have selected only the ITC method. Here D in the figure 10, D indicates that the crystals which we have grown in our lab on the ITO, which is 1.4 centimeter length, and the thickness of this material is 0.6, and this is suitable for the higher energy radiation detection, which we have successfully done for the DRDO project. Coming to the process in the nucleation, there are the two processes in the nucleation, the fast nucleation and the slow nucleation, where depending on the size of the particle, if we want to have the larger size crystals, we need to go for the slow nucleation, where the temperature play a major important role here in this case.
Dear Sarvani, there is a small interruption from my side. Actually, you have 8 minutes for presentation and 2 minutes for queries. Okay, now you have already reached 10 minutes.
Okay, okay. So
please try to make it fast.
Okay, sure, sir. Only 2 slides are there, and then I will finish it.
Okay.
Thank you. Yeah, here we have discussed the precursor solution formation and the hot temperature crystallization growth method, and then we get the crystals here. So the role of additives is to decrease the surface defects and enhance its crystallinity and maintain the defect-free surface. So these are the additives which we have used: colon, bromide, phenylethylamine, paraxylenamine, and API. So in the summary, in the first project, we have successfully optimized the conditions of additive engineering method, and then in the second method, we have did the same for the optoelectronic application, like IV studies have been done. In the third, we have checked whether this technique is used for the mixed halides or not. Yeah. In the next project, we have used these single crystals for the transmission studies using the terahertz spectroscopic setup, where we came to know that we have concluded that the defects are lower in modified single crystals than the pristine one. And then in the last project, this is on the nanocrystals, perovskite nanocrystals for the non-linear optical studies. Yeah, these are the references. I would like to acknowledge the funding agencies, DRDO, Institute of Eminence, University of Hyderabad. Yes, thank you very much for your time. And I would like to welcome the questions.
Yes.
Yes.